you're an airline pilot wondering, how will I know when it's time to hang it up? This video gives you 5 pilot-specific signs it might be time to retire, so you don't trade your best years for one more bid period. I'm an active airline pilot and certified budget coach. I've helped a lot of guys run through this exact checklist. We all hit a point where it actually costs more to keep flying than it does to retire, not just in money, but in time, health, and also your family. The problem is most pilots only realize it when it's too late to get back those years. Today, I'll walk you through 5 signs in order: time, health, family, health span, and the money trap. If you check 3 or more, it's time for you to start planning your final approach. At the end, I'll show you how to run a full retirement readiness checklist with me in just 7 days. Starting with principle 1, time is now your scarcest currency. Early in your career, you had lots of time and little money, so you traded time for money, and that made sense. But later in your career, you have enough money and limited time, hard cap by age 65, and your medical. Here's the shift: money is renewable. You can always earn more, cut more, adjust more. Time is not. Once it's gone, it is gone. I know a senior captain who could have retired at age 60 comfortably, but he chased one more year. And one more year, until a surprise medical pulled his ticket. He gladly traded every extra paycheck from those years for just that time back. The money didn't matter anymore, the time did. So you need to write down right now, if I stopped flying today, would I be okay? If the honest answer is yes, but you're still flying just for a bigger number on the screen, you're trading non-renewable time for renewable money. And that's a bad trade. Once you see time differently, the next question is, what flying actually is doing to my body you're going to live after you retire? Which brings me to principle number 2. Your job is costing you your health. High-ticket pilots accumulate serious debt over a career. Sleep, debt, stress, weight, blood pressure issues. Late career years are peak pay and peak stress at the exact same time. The problem is, if your health degrades too far before you retire, you can't get it back. You'll have the money and the time, but not the health to use either one of them. Think about a typical 60-something-year-old captain, back-to-back red eyes, commuting on days off, running on caffeine, quietly dredging every AME visit, not because he doesn't love flying it anymore, it's because he doesn't know what else to do. And in the meantime, his body is paying the tab. You need to be honest about one thing: is flying today making your health better, neutral, or worse? If the answer is worse, every extra year you stay just for that paycheck could be, taking healthy years of retirement off the back end. You're not banking time, you're borrowing against it. If you want a place to actually map how your health and money interact, I built a 7-day pilot money challenge that walks you through this exact process. The link's in the description, it's totally free, and it's built specifically for pilots. And health isn't the only thing taking a hit. The next sign shows up at home, and it's the one pilots feel most guilty about. Principle number 3. Your schedule is stealing your best family years. The trips, commuting, holidays on the road. Early in your career, that was the cost of building seniority and a future for your family, and it made sense then. But if you're financially fine and you're still missing milestone moments, the trade has completely changed. And you're no longer sacrificing for the future, you're just sacrificing. I think about a grandparent who keeps bidding high time lines because that's what he's always done. And then one day he realizes his grandkids went from toddlers to teenagers, mostly over FaceTime, and he was there for the career and he wasn't there for the kids. No man on his deathbed ever said he wished he spent more time in the office. So ask yourself honestly, if I died 5 years from now, would you wish you'd flown more trips or spent more time on the ground with the people who mattered? If the answer is family, but your schedule says otherwise, that's a retirement signal you can't really ignore. Even if you fix time, health, and family, there's a subtle one that most pilots completely miss, and it's the one that determines the quality of everything that comes after. Principle number 4, your best years are limited, and it's your health span that matters, not your lifespan. You might live 30 years after you retire, but the window where you can physically do things you've dreamed about, travel, ski, hike, ride motorcycles, chase the grandkids around the backyard, that window is actually smaller than you think. Age 60 to 70 is not the same as age 80 to 90, even with plenty of money in the bank. So I want you to picture yourself at 63, doing long high taking trips, doing everything you put off during your career. Now picture yourself at 83 with plenty of money, but physically you just can't do it anymore. Now both versions have the money, only one has the body to use it. The difference is when you stop flying, the first 40 years of life gave us the next and the 30 next. So draw 3 boxes on a piece of paper. 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90. Circle what decade you want to be your adventure decade. Now ask whether your current flying schedule is spending those years on reserve and red eyes or on your bucket list items. If it's the former, you may be paying too much time to keep flying. All of that assumes you can actually afford to stop. The last principle is where the money math comes in. And our most senior pilots, the number might actually surprise you. You're financially ready, but your identity is keeping you in the cockpit. Many senior pilots have enough between a pension, a 401k, Social Security, maybe VA disability benefits, a spouse's income, and the math works. They keep flying not from financial need, but from habit, routine, and the quiet fear of the blank space that comes after. Flying isn't just a job for pilots, it's actually an identity. You have to figure out who you are without it. I've talked to pilots who could have comfortably retired at 62. They stayed just in case until 65. Looking back, they admit it wasn't for the love of the job that kept them there. It was from the fear of the unknown, fear of the empty calendar, fear of not having a title. That's not a financial problem, that's a planning problem. And here's a quote: "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek," by Joseph Campbell. So ask yourself this one question: if my airline offered me a fully paid year off starting tomorrow, would I take it? If yes, you're not in love with your work. You're attached to the routine. That's your cue to start building a real retirement plan instead of drifting into age 65 by default. And principle 6, turn these 5 signs into a retirement flight plan, not a panic quit. You don't yank back on the throttles, to idle and declare an emergency. You actually will plan the financial approach. You know your numbers, you pick your window, you brief your family, and you sequence your money so that you land nice and smooth. Not out of fuel on a dark runway at age 65, wondering where all the time went. I think about a captain who picked 63 as his intentional retirement age. He spent 3 years running his numbers, right-sizing his lifestyle, building a monthly budget he could actually live on, and getting his wife on the same page. When the day came, he was wheels up into retirement with zero drama, no regret, no panic, and just a very clear plan. And a goal without a plan is just a wish. Great quote. I absolutely love that quote. So start with 4 numbers: your pension amount, your 401k balance, your cash reserves, and your monthly spending. That's your starting point for a real decision instead of the "I'll just go until 65 by default." Now, if you actually want to run a full retirement readiness checklist, your real numbers, your enough number, and a 90-day plan whether you keep flying or not, join our 7-day Pilot Money Challenge. 1 task a day designed specifically for pilots. It takes less than 15 minutes a day. And by the end of the week, you'll have a clear picture of exactly where you stand. So click the link in the description and I'll see you on day 1.